Yes, you can see it. Okay. Also, hello. Okay. Alrighty. Okay, so this is a streamer survey. I'm going to show you where to put it. I mean, where to find it, how to fill it out, and all that stuff. And I'm going to walk you through the most important things because there are actually really important things in the survey that you need to select. Because if you do not select them, I'm not going to say it doesn't matter, but it's not going to do what you hope it to do. Okay? So this is what the streamer survey looks like. This is just my first page. Okay. Again, important information. Not enough Indigenous people have filled out the Twitch streamer survey, okay? This is from Twitch itself, has told us this, okay? Less than, so again, Twitch uses this data to plan for events and promotions. So basically, what they do is they pull information from this. They say, hey, X amount of people belong to this group, and we want to then create a promotion for them, whether that is front page, a shelf, a guild, whatever. If we are like, hey, enough of these people are here, like, we really need to support them because a lot of them are on Twitch, but they're not getting that support. So when you pull that data and you have how many numbers there are, then you're like, okay, this is the group that we're trying to support. And it is a huge group and they need support. So for that to happen, we need Indigenous people to fill out the survey. Because according to Twitch, less than 100 Indigenous people have filled out the survey. Okay. All right, where to find it? So if you open up your creator dashboard, and if you don't know where your creator dashboard is, that's a huge problem. Everyone should know where their creator dashboard is. If you go to your name in the corner, there's your little picture of yourself or your little icon of yourself in the corner and you select it, you'll see like it's one of the first couple options that says creator dashboard. You click on that and it brings you to here. This is a full page, but on the left-hand side, you'll see this column, okay? So you have home, creator dashboard, home, stream manager, alerts, all this stuff. You will not see all these options if you are not at least an affiliate. If you do not see all these options, it means it's probably because you're not even an affiliate yet. So to to fill this out and to get this information, you need to be an affiliate. Um, So basically, you go to the creator dashboard, you go down to settings. When you click on settings, settings will drop down, and then the drop down menu will be like this, and you'll have stream, channel, moderation, and stream survey. So again, if you're not at least an affiliate, you will not see this. So make sure that you are an affiliate first. And again, if Indigenous people, if you're an Indigenous streamer and you're not even an affiliate yet, again, this is where reaching out to community members is very, very helpful to say, hey, I'm an Indigenous streamer. I haven't even made affiliate. How can you help me? Because all you need is 50 followers and you need an average view count of 3 and you need to have streamed at least on 7 separate days within 30 days. You need all that stuff within 30 days, okay? I mean, not all that stuff. I mean, yes, you can have the 50 followers later, but you need the 3 average view counts within the 30 days, and you also need um you need to have streamed 7 days within a 30-day period. So again, reach out to the Indigenous community. I have helped many people reach affiliate. It's not that hard to do. And I say that it's not that hard when you have the support of your community. And we do, like, I know for myself and our stream team, I'm a community manager for the Four Directions, which is an Indigenous stream team. I'm also a member of the Nietzsche clan, which is also a stream. They're not really a stream team per se, but they're more of a stream team slash stream Indigenous community that people can hang out for, like content creators as well. And that's a very open forum that anyone can join. Again, that group has over 200 people. That's what I'm saying. Twitch saying they have less than 100 people have filled out the survey. I'm like, I can name, like, there's a whole group right there. And I know our stream team has about 50 people and we get hundreds of applications when we open it up. So where you know that It just means people aren't filling out the stream survey. So we really need people to really need people to do this, okay? So creator dashboard setting and stream survey. So when you open up the streamer survey, it's very important to note that Twitch is different. Like even the front page, if you notice, is actually different depending on which country you're in. Twitch will be different for Americans. They'll be different for Canadians. They'll be different for people in the UK. They'll be different for people in Australia. Like who is highlighted and featured on that front page and what options they have are all going to be different depending on what country you are in, okay? So in this survey, there are 3 sections. There's participation, data preference, and then the actual survey itself. Each one of these things is important, has actually important data in here that you need to fill out, okay? First one. Okay. This is so important. Streamer survey community. So all of this information is voluntary. You do not have to. And it even says right here, with the information that partners and affiliates share in the stream community survey, we can measure and study the behaviors and interactions of different communities at scale to ensure our products and programs promote a safe and equitable experience for creators worldwide. It says it actually right here in the beginning. All right. Now, you can opt out of this. Do not, I cannot express this enough, do not select this if you wish to participate. This is basically saying you are opting out of this survey. That means they will not collect your data, they will not store anything, they will not participate, whatever. They will dispose of any of your responses that they have stored, okay? Do not select this if you want to participate. This means that you do not want to participate and you don't want to be counted. I'm going to encourage you not to do that. Everything is always your choice, but again, it's not helping any of us. We really need everyone's answers. And a lot of these questions on here are very voluntary. There are options on there that you could say prefer not to answer. That is always an option in there. So don't feel like you have to answer or pick an answer for something, especially if you're like, it really doesn't resonate with me. I don't want to answer this. That is an option. So if that's all you put in there, again, I don't know. I mean, might as well just opt out if you're going to put nothing. But again, it's more helpful to us as a community if you participate in this information. Yeah. It's stored on Twitch. I can see how people might be a little hesitant about that because anytime anyone stores your information online, you know, there is some sort of a risk that is associated with that. But that's just what it's like to be online. Okay, next section, data preferences. Okay, again, all of these are optional and you can sign up for which one. I have them all selected personally. So studying the difference in creator experience based on their identity. So there are certain studies and things that they will opt you into programs that will help you, and you can say, yes, I'm willing to participate in that.
Come inside and have a nice cup of tea.
Oh, thank you for following. I have it on as well to turn on, so feel free to lurk or say hi. It's totally up to you. Second one is building and improving tools that promote a safe and equitable experience for creators. Okay, so again, these are tools. Any kind of tools that they have that they're creating, they will, again, reach out to people who have opted into this, and they will pick you basically at random saying, hey, we've entered you into this program because we want you to test out this tool, this beta tool before it even like comes out, right? So they will reach out to you if you have that selected. And then recruit creators participating in research studies. I'm actually part of this group, I think. Again, there's a different thing that I sign into because I opted into this and I said, yes, I would be willing to do any research studies or participate in them. The bottom one is the most important one, okay? Inviting creators to be featured in events, promotions, or sponsorships. So this specifically is the most important, okay? It tells Twitch that you are interested in being asked to participate in events, promotions, or sponsorships. And those things are like Twitch front page, the heritage months, like even Pride, even the Pride months, like, or highlights, or like the shelves, like, or any sort of event that they're like, hey, we want some streamers and we want to like highlight you for like a week as part of our promotional thing. You are opting into this by selecting that bottom one. And if you don't select that, you're saying you don't want to participate in that. So again, it is very important that if you want to participate in those things, you should fill out the bottom one, okay? Again, very important. Okay. Now we got to completing the survey, okay? The survey itself has 7 questions. Now, I cannot stress this enough, and I probably have said this so many times. You must fill out all of these questions to submit the survey. You can fill the survey out as many times as you want, especially if you answered something and you're like, you know what, like as people, we change and we grow and we're like, you know what, that doesn't fit me anymore. I'm going to change that definition and I'm going to respond with something else. You can do that. Basically, what happens is each time you fill out this survey, what it does is it just replaces the previous survey. So you can fill this out as many times as you want, and you can even go back and change your answers. I know for myself, I got kind of worried that I hadn't filled it out a couple times or that it wasn't submitted properly. So I've actually filled this out at least like a couple times a year because I'm like, okay, I'm just going to quickly go and fill it out again. I do know it is filled out because I participated. I am part of the Twitch Women's Guild. So because of that, because I'm part of the Twitch Women's Guild, I wouldn't have been part of the guild and been included in the guild if I hadn't filled out the survey. Okay, because of the things that I identified about myself, I then was included. I was able to be included in that basically. So you had to fill out the survey. We'll go into each one of the questions. We're going to go deeper into them. Okay. So the first question is, what is your gender identity? Again, this one is, again, you could put whatever you want, right? But the questions of what you put on here will tell Twitch what opportunities are associated with your answer. For example, like the Twitch Women's Guild. I believe the Twitch Women's Guild not only accepts women, but non-binary as well. And, again, you could say not listed. I have it cut off, but there is an actual box here that you can actually put something else if that's what you want to put. Or you could say prefer not to answer because you're like, you know what? I don't want to answer this question. So again, most of these questions have this option, prefer not to answer. If you don't want to answer the question, that is totally up to you. That's why surveys are voluntary. You either want to provide this information or you don't. The most important thing is, though, is that what you put on here will determine what opportunities you can be asked to participate in. Okay. So like, for example, like I said, Twitch Women's Guild, Women's History Month, things like that. Like there are things that they pull this information from to decide who's going to participate in these events. Next question, pronouns. I think it's just a standard thing. There's a lot of pronouns that people want to be preferred. And again, I know like we have like he, him, she, her, they, them, but I know a lot of people are like he, they, or she, they, and usually my understanding, and I please correct me if I'm wrong, but most people will, if they want they before, like to be the dominant one, they will say they, he. So it's usually the first one is the preferred one, but they will accept this as well. So that's my understanding how it was explained to me. But yeah, you should always respect people's pronouns. And again, not listed specific other. I know we have people in our community like Ikwe, Ikweu, means Isqueu means like a woman, but it means like a woman, but it's like technically we have like, well, in my community we have like 8 genders or 8 roles, and they're different things. So sometimes we'll use our traditional ones, right? So if you want to put your own traditional one, then you can put not listed and specify something different if you want. Or if you're like, you know what, I don't want to tell you, you could prefer not to answer. always an option. But fill out something. Select one of those options. Okay. If you notice in the first one, it didn't ask it didn't put transgender. Transgender is actually its own box. So fill this out to the best of your knowledge. And at any time, if you're like, because people grow, they change, and they, you know, they might discover things about themselves later on. You can change this at any time. Okay. You can go back. You can Every time you fill out the survey, you're going to fill out all those questions over and again. You can change this answer at any time. You just fill this out to the best of your knowledge of what resonates most with you. So again, you can either say yes, no, or not listed. And you can also put prefer not to answer. Again, it's totally up to you. Just please fill out this question. This is the most important one, okay? So, like I said, as Indigenous people, we have, according to Twitch, less than 100 people have filled out the survey, okay? But according to this, and actually we discovered this because a lot of the people on our Four Directions team, we know that Canada and the US, and actually even like Canada and like Mexico and like Southern America, these borders were not ours. These are the borders of the colonizers and aren't ours. So we know that our term for Indigenous, of everybody here on Turtle Island, can mean different things to us. So for us, Indigenous is more of a broader term that we use. And a lot of times, First Nations, Métis, Inuit, that's kind of the terms we use in Canada. In the United States is Native American or Alaskan Native. Again, these are more political terms that were kind of adopted over time. They actually weren't what we called each other. We had our own tribes and our own nations. So you might want to put other. That's fine. But you can select all that apply because we know as many mixed people, like I am also half white. And in my half whiteness, I'm English, German, Swedish, and French. But I'm also half Indigenous. I am First Nations, actually. So, because of that, we know that you can have multiple identities. You don't have to pick one, you can select all that apply. So, I encourage you to do that. And I actually really encourage you. For example, in Canada, Native Hawaiian is Indigenous. I would include Native Hawaiian in that. So, because Native Hawaiian is Indigenous, and from my conversation with Twist and clarification, they are using multiple identities within this community. So they are taking First Nations, Métis, Inuit, and Native American, to my understanding. I don't think that they're using Native Hawaiian or Pacific Islander. I think they probably are grouping these two together, but they're not grouping them in with us, which they should be. Again, if you know any history about South America, you will know that when the Spanish colonized South America, they basically said, no, you're no longer these things. You are now Mexican. That's it. You're Mexican. You're Mexican. You're Mexican. And that might be true, but there are a lot of people who are still in those communities that actually are Indigenous. So, yes. Um, so that is why if you have multiple identities and you know that you have multiple identities that are Indigenous, I would select, if you're in the States, and let's say you're Mexican, but you know you are Indigenous as well from Mexico, select Native American, Alaska Native. I know it's, you can select them both. Also in Puerto Rico, you have that Taino. Like, seriously, they are Indigenous. You can select them as well. A lot of communities have Indigenous people. So if you are, again, this one has Native Hawaiian, select Native American. I know it sounds kind of like anti-intuitive, but really, when we're thinking about our Indigenous identity, we know these communities are part of our community and they intersect because of colonization, that they've just been wiped out of existence, or been told not to claim these identities when they really are. So we have a lot of people who are also reconnecting and finding out what that means. And I know in our stream team, we provide a lot of support and space to do that because we know that in our Indigenous umbrella that they are included because they are just as Indigenous as many people in our communities. So again, if you're in Canada and you know that you are Native Hawaiian, I would select Native Hawaiian and I would do First Nations, Métis, and Inuit. I know this is a little confusing too. First Nations, Métis, and Inuit. These are all political identities. People think that First Nations are just people like, oh, you were first here. No, First Nations is actually more of a political identity in Canada. It means that you are a member of a First Nation. I am a member of a First Nation. I'm a member of Quechua First Nation. I am a member of this community. I am a registered member of this community. And we even have an organization that represents all these communities called the Assembly of First Nations. So if you belong to a First Nation or a reserve, which is probably a First Nation, you are First Nations. Métis is a Métis community. Again, we have the National Métis Council, and then we have the Inuit. I'm going to say ITK because I always pronounce it very, very wrong. But yeah, anyways, there's so many Inuit people as well too. So again, if you belong to something other that's not really listed here, or if you're like, you know what, I don't want to belong to these Indigenous communities, I want to be my own community. So I specifically am Cree, but if you know history, Cree was actually the word or the identity that the French gave us. Cree is not actually us. We actually have like 9 different dialects of Cree, which is the word we use for people. So I specifically am Ininu or Ilulu. But if I put that, I'm not going to be included in the data. So if I wanted to put not listed, I could do that, but I would also always select this one. So again, it is very important because the whole point is we're trying to be counted. We're trying to tell Twitch who are the Indigenous people on Twitch. So we want to make sure that we're being counted properly. So I would encourage you that if you have like multiple identities, you're like, this doesn't really fit me. I would encourage you, if you are Indigenous and you're in Canada, select First Nations, Métis, and Inuit. And if you're in the United States, select Native American, Alaska Native. You can select all the other ones as well too, like, other identities you belong to. So if you're like Mexican, put Mexican and Native American. I would just put them both. Just because we want to make sure that we are properly being counted so we can tell Twitch that there are actually a lot of us online. Actually, we even, in that same meeting, I did mention to Twitch because of there is an actual Latin guild that we probably have a lot of overlap with that community. Just probably a lot of them don't know that they have probably Indigenous heritage. We actually met some people that kind of discovered this already too. So again, if there's anything you learned today, please remember this. Again, I will be recording this and I will be like clipping it and I'll put it on YouTube and I will share it later as well. But again, go back and watch the VOD if you want to. And hopefully we can encourage more Indigenous people to fill out the survey. We need to get that number to be way past 100 because right now we're less than 100. We need to be like 200, 300. Like I think we can get to like 300 minimum of Indigenous people on Twitch. Next one. What is your sexual orientation? Again, these are really, really important. If you are uncomfortable with filling out this question, they also have straight and heterosexual. But if you're like questioning and you don't really know, if you're questioning and you don't really know, you could also put not listed because again, two spirits not on here. Or you could prefer not to answer. Again, you don't have to. We can always go back to the survey and fill it out again. This is very important, okay? This is where they're going to pull data from when they're doing Pride events. And I believe this works for around the world because Pride is actually different in different places as well. Different countries celebrate Pride on different months. It's not always. A lot of the months that we're celebrating actually are in the US right now, like Pride, because in Canada, actually Indigenous Peoples Month and Indigenous Peoples Day is also in June. So, and then of course we just had Indigenous Peoples Day, which also was in October. In Canada, it was Canadian Thanksgiving. It also used to be Columbus Day, which most people I know don't celebrate because fuck Columbus, and and a lot of people have changed it to Indigenous Peoples Day. So again, filling out all these answers gives Twitch as much data as possible so they can fairly represent us and put more resources into things that matter to us. But first of all, they need to know who it is that they're trying to help. And they're not going to help one or two people. They probably want to help a group of people, but if we don't show them that there is a group here, how they can't justify putting the money into supporting that. And I get that. It's not great, for us, because as Indigenous people, from first contact, we are 90% of our population was diminished from first contact and from colonization. So we are minorities in our own motherland. And I don't even like saying that, but really, our population is quite small compared to everyone else. But that was done by design, and that's not our fault. But we still are. I know there was a lot of studies out there that showed that we are the fastest growing population currently. So, again, there are a lot of us out there. Even though we're not as big as numbers of other people, there is still a lot of Indigenous people out there. Okay, same one. Uh, Disabilities. So again, you can select more than one. If you don't want to answer, you don't have to. You can put something not listed. Again, this is so important to put on there because I know I've seen other people as well asking for a disability month as well, and they haven't gotten it as well. And I bet you it's because they're running up the same problem that we are, which is not enough people are filling out the survey. So you fill this out what you're comfortable with sharing. Again, it's just giving Twitch data of figuring out who you are. They don't share this data with everyone else. Even with me knowing that less than 100 Indigenous people have filled out the survey, they never gave me a direct number. They didn't tell me who filled it out. They couldn't even tell me if I filled it out. Like, they don't have that much detail into it. They just told me what the numbers were. And even then, they didn't tell me the exact number. They just said less than 100 people had filled it out. So again, always fill out every single one of these questions because that information then helps them collect data, which then helps them help us. It's funny. I'm like, why is this question on everything? I feel like this is a standard survey question. So again, have you have you served on active duty in military? That's the thing though. It's like, have you served in the military or are you on active duty? Hi BMP. Um yeah, so I would say again, fill it out. I've never served in the military. It's quite an easy question for me. I'm like, no, I haven't. Or are you on active duty? Have you been on in the past, but not now? Again, not listed if there's something else, or you just prefer not to answer. It's totally up to you. Again, this question, this option is basically on all of them. But again, you need to select something because at the bottom of the survey, you are going to see a submit button. If the submit button is grayed out like this, it means there is a question that you have not answered. Once you have filled out all the questions that they have asked you to, it will turn purple and you will then be able to hit submit. Okay? That's how you know. If you filled it out properly and you've answered all the questions that you need to fill out, you can now hit submit. Okay? And I don't know if this needs to go without saying, but just be as honest and truthful as you can. Don't select every answer for select all that apply because I'm pretty sure that's not going to help with the survey. And that's not going to help you. It's really not. Yeah. You want to fill it out properly. Okay? Okay. So you completed the survey. You've submitted it. Yay! Once you have submitted the survey, you will get a thank you message, which will look like this. And basically, they have a privacy notice, which says, how your information will be treated and stored and saved and all that stuff. It's not new. BNP, it's not new. This survey's been around for a long time. That's why I'm like, people need to fill out the survey. They just don't know that it's here. So when you fill this out, it means that you have finished and filled out the survey, okay? So once you hit submit, the survey will go blank. Everything you filled out, everything will return back to normal and resort back to like blank. But if you got this thank you response, it means it's been submitted. They have stored your responses in there. If you want to go back and you want to fill out the survey and change your answers because you're like, you know what? I don't want to put this. Or you know what? I just want to do this thing, so I just want to answer on this. But the other ones I'm going to say no. You can do that. What it does is, from my understanding, is it will submit the survey and it'll basically overwrite your previous answers. So whichever survey that you had submitted last, that one will overwrite the survey every time. And again, it'll go blank and it'll submit the one previously. So if you want to change your answers, or if you're like, hey, I don't feel that anymore, or hey, you know what, I've decided I'm going to change my pronouns, or hey, you know what, I want to change it to this, or you know what, I don't want to be this or this. I want it to be this the specific one that I want for my pronouns. You can go back and you can just refill out all the questions again and resubmit it. It is fine. I have filled out the survey, like I said, multiple times. Mostly because I wasn't sure if I had filled it out because I have seen so many calls for me to fill out the survey. So I was like, okay, I'm going to fill it out just in case one more time. I do know it's been filled out properly though now because again, if I hadn't filled this out, I wouldn't have been invited to participate and join the Women's Twitch Unity Guild if I hadn't identified as a woman. I believe non-binary also gets invited, but I'm not 100% sure on that. I think there is a blog that you can go read on the Twitch Unity Guild, which will also have a form that you can fill out if you're interested in any of the Unity Guilds. But again, they will pull all that information from the survey. So if you haven't filled out the survey, you should fill out the survey. You've done it already? Okay. So that's it. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. This is a Twitch logo that we made from all of our members of the Four Directions. We actually we shared with each other how to say thank you in our language, and then I created this logo basically. We actually had another person create it, but I couldn't find it, so I recreated it out of those cloud things and using the Twitch logo. So each one of these words is how to say thank you in our Indigenous languages. So that's it. I know I went through a lot. Does anyone have any questions? Wow, my throat is really dry from talking so much. You're welcome. Well, thank you so much for everyone for being here. I wanted to start off the stream by talking about this, sharing this information. And although I know it was geared towards Indigenous people, um, um, oh, you do? Yay! Yeah, I think a lot of us were like, hey, how do we say thank you? And so we were we all put ours in there. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I thought it was so important because like I said, we had a conversation with Twitch and we really need to push getting people to fill out this survey. And I know a lot of us have talked about it. We've created videos. I know we've created Mutation created a TikTok video about it, talking about the survey. But for me, because my background is communications, and what I actually specialized in with my degree was technical writing. So that's building manuals and how-to manuals and things like that. So I basically created this PowerPoint presentation to basically walk everyone through the steps and explaining why every one of them is so important, because it's so much more than just here, click, 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 click. It's why are these ones important and what you need to do to make sure that it counts. Because I'm hoping that we get enough of us on Twitch to fill out the survey. We can show Twitch that there are enough of us out there that eventually the goal is to have a Heritage Month. Um, to have a Heritage Month, or even to have a Unity Guild. And I think the more we can garner support for that, the better. And the first things first to get support from Twitch is we need to show them from their data collection tool, which is the survey, that there are lots of people on Twitch, lots of Indigenous people on Twitch. And even though it is garnered towards Indigenous people, this counts for everyone. If you are, I know, like I said, there are people who are part of the disability community who are like, hey, we want a month as well, because there are months that highlight and celebrate, people with disabilities. And how do we get that? How do we provide support? Because, every community, every culture has people that have multiple, disabilities that are visible and not visible. So again, I just wanted to share this information and walk people through and give people a chance to ask any questions if they needed it. Yes. So my hope is, what I'm going to do is, after I've done this presentation, um, I'm going to take this video down. Probably not take this video. I'm gonna export it, and then I'm gonna edit it so that it's just the presentation, and then I'm going to share it online, and then you'll be able to have it. I do have a I don't know if I have it in here. I can also send it to you as well. I also have it as a PDF as well, the presentation. But yeah, like I said, I'm gonna take this video. I'm gonna edit it, and then I'll upload it to YouTube, and then I'll be able to share it with people, so that way you'll be able to have it forever, and hopefully share it and get more people to sign up. So yeah, thank you so much for coming to my TED Talk.